Since October 31st is now only a few days away, I wanted to make a video highlighting the scariest horror movies you can watch this Halloween Eve. Though quick disclaimer, what is considered scary is entirely subjective. Different people are frightened by different things. Some by ghosts, some by home invaders, some by this guy approaching you at a bar. I can't guarantee all of these movies will scare you. All I can guarantee is that they thoroughly scared me. Also, quickly before I start, please take a second and subscribe to my channel, Horror Flicks with Nick. I will be continuing to recommend horror movies for you long after the Halloween season has ended. Alright, starting my list off is the very first horror movie I ever saw, all the way back in middle school, Insidious. Insidious is directed by horror legend James Wan and is about a family trying to prevent evil spirits from trapping their comatose child in a realm called the Further. After watching this at 13 years old, I slept with a nightlight on for weeks. The image of the bride waiting in the bathroom mirror was burnt into my brain for years to come. There's a good chance you've already seen this specific horror movie, but if not, please change that immediately and go watch Insidious.
It's not the house that's haunted. It's your son.
Next on my list is The Witch in the Window, which is about a father and son who move to an old farmhouse and encounter the malicious spirit of the previous owner. I saw this movie not as a tween, but as a fully grown bearded adult. And yet, this movie still absolutely scared the shit out of me. Witch in the Window really got under my skin, not just with its jump scares, but with the image of the witch sinisterly lurking in the background of every scene.
I thought I saw someone in the mirror.
What kind of someone?
Think a lady.
Please don't make me look at her.
Next up is Funny Games. Funny Games tells the story of two psychotic young men who take a family hostage in their cabin. Funny Games isn't a pure horror movie. The reason it will scare you isn't due to it having traditional scares. Instead, Funny Games ramps up the unease and the feeling that something just isn't right, completely unnerving you with an all-too-real home invasion scenario. It's hard to exactly articulate, but despite its lack of ghosts and ghouls, Funny Games will still stick with you long after you watch it.
Keep me safe all through the night, please.
That's awesome, really. Really.
Fourth on my list is The Blair Witch Project. This movie tells the tale of, well, you already know the story of the Blair Witch Project. I don't need to promote the most profitable horror movie ever made, but I still needed to include it on my list to make it accurate, as the Blair Witch Project still scares me every time I see it.
Tell me where you are, Josh!
Fifth on my list is the Keepsa tapes. The Keepsa tapes is about New York murder investigators who uncover hundreds of tapes showing decades of a serial killer's work in an abandoned house in Keepsa. This is not a horror movie for the faint of heart or the squeamish. But if you like true crime or serial killers, in my opinion, this is one of the scariest movies you can watch. The footage seems so real, you will be questioning whether you're watching a snuff film or if the Keepsa killer is coming to get you next. Next up is Hereditary, which tells the story of a grieving family that is haunted by tragic and disturbing occurrences. This is another I won't spend too much time on and just had to include to make my list accurate. Hereditary freaked me the fuck out when I saw it in theaters. I may have been an adult, but I still had trouble sleeping, just like when I was 13. Hereditary is chock full of scenes that will give you nightmares, and I just cannot recommend it enough.
I recognize you from your mother.
What? Sometimes I swear I can feel them in the room.
Oh my God!
She isn't gone.
Seventh on my list is Shudder. Shudder is about a young photographer and his girlfriend who discover mysterious shadows in photographs after a tragic accident. Shudder is super atmospheric and has a palpable and overwhelming sense of dread. If you like ghost movies, movies similar to The Ring or The Grudge, then I promise Shudder will scare you. The 8th movie on my list is Sinister. Sinister tells the story of a washed-up true crime writer who finds a box of home movies that suggest the murder he is currently researching is the work of a serial killer whose legacy dates back to the 1960s. Sinister is a movie that every time I watch it, it still freaks me out just as much as the first time I saw it. I still don't think I'll ever truly recover from the lawnmower scene. Sinister is an absolute masterclass in building up scares. The 9th movie on my list is Ganjium Haunted Asylum. At this point in my life, I'm really numb to most horror movies. I watch about 300 a year, and nothing really scares me anymore. Except for this movie. I watched Haunted Asylum fairly recently, and it totally got me. I didn't want to walk to my car after. There are multiple scenes at the end that are pure nightmare fuel. If you can stand the terror, definitely go watch Ganjium Haunted Asylum. Finally, rather than just having a 10th movie on my list, I instead wanted to rapid fire some more underrated or overlooked horror movies that scared me and that you should add to your Halloween watch list. These movies include Last Shift, Maniac, Stillborn, Hell House LLC, Innkeepers, The Den, Grave Encounters, The Possession of Michael King, and Terrified. Alright, that is my list of the scariest horror movies you can watch this Halloween. Again, horror is entirely subjective. These are just the movies that I've found to be the scariest. So please don't comment and complain if you also don't sleep with a nightlight on after watching Insidious like 13-year-old Nick. Though please do comment and let me know what the scariest horror movie you've ever seen is. I'd absolutely love to get some more spooky recommendations. Also again, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, Horror Flicks with Nick. I post new horror rants, reviews, commentaries, and deep dives on Fridays. As well on Mondays, I post quick 2-minute recommendations for horror movies available to watch on streaming services like Shudder, Netflix, and Amazon Prime. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very scary Halloween.